good, yo? It's your boy Jeameave.
Hey, your boy Mac.
Back again, Views from the Heart, and today we got a 2014 Cadillac CTS 2.0T. Now, for those of you that may not know, 2.0T actually stands for a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged. Now, I'm gonna come right off the back from the front. I cannot stand 4 cylinders, but maybe this can change my mind. I don't know. We haven't really driven it yet. But with that said, this 2-liter 4-cylinder is actually pushing 272 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, which is mated to
6-speed step-tronic automatic. Also comes with an EPA of 20 by the city, 30 by the highway. Also gonna lead you to curb weight of 3,731 miles per hour. Anywho,
pounds.
Yeah, my fault.
We got distracted by this garbage that was in the background. You may have heard it. But with that said, this starting price is around $46,000, and with options, it's around $65,000. Now, that is a steep price when you're including options in here. But we're gonna go ahead and show you what the inside is like, because I think $65,000 with options is a little bit too much.
Especially when you have the topic as a vehicle, luxury sedan.
Luxury sedan.
Y'all gonna see this.
So let's go ahead and see what it's all about.
You already know what it is. You already know what's back. Back again with the caddy, the baddie, MacWxyne. Let's get in this
Well, it is kind of batty on the inside.
You were recording the whole time.
Yeah, I was. Let's get it.
Wow. You're a broad, my friend.
Oh.
Bragging on the inside.
Oh.
I tell you what, we got a whole lot of basic in here. I tell you that. A whole lot of basic. I ain't really.
Can you care to point out some of the basicness that we're experiencing?
All right. So first and foremost, when you hear Cadillac or even Escalade, what do you think of? Top notch, rich class. You know, everybody got a Cadillac.
Cadillac back in the day was the world-renowned, undisputed luxury king.
It was. And when you hear luxury sedan, what do you think of? You know, luxury. And again, this is kind of the same problem that we had with Chrysler. Not problem, but issue. This basic infotainment center is sleek. Yes, I give it that. These aren't buttons, people. These are really just
actually touchscreen.
It's pretty nice, as you guys can see.
It gives decent haptic feedback as well.
Yeah.
The AC going on in here for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, not really for you guys, but for us, just for you guys in the sense that it keeps the outside noise out as best as we can.
For us, we're not in here sweating like I'm not even gonna say that.
But yeah.
That's true.
But you know, moving further along, I think this interior. Now, again, I'm gonna reiterate. This vehicle apparently starts at around $47,000, and with options can quickly climb into the $60,000 range. It's not a bad interior per se, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely.
If you guys are starting off what, brand new, how much?
In the neighborhood of $60,000 with options.
Yeah.
I've seen some with the same measly 4-cylinder reach $65,000.
Measly.
That's insane. Yeah. There is no way in hell that a vehicle with a 4-cylinder should reach $60,000+. Now, I'm well aware that a 5 Series 528i and now 530i can do the same thing in that neighborhood. But I actually just recently went on BMW USA, and this is, I'm not trying to fanboy, but this was just the first one that popped into my mind because this competes with 5 Series, E-Class, Audi A6. So this has very stiff competition, and this CTS was until the AT6 or CT6, I believe, came out. This was the generation that kind of shrunk it down a little bit, and where Cadillac introduced the CT6 as their large, like 7 Series competitor. So with that said, you know, this is with more slide into 5 Series, and Mercedes E-Class, which has basically dominated the segment. The E-Class is Mercedes' best-selling model. The 3 Series is BMW's best-selling model. So when you try and compete with something like that, and you're not bringing everything, and you're pricing it in the vicinity and the realm where someone can cross-shop their options, man, you need to bring more, and I don't see it enough. The materials in here aren't necessarily bad, but I see too much of a lack of quality materials. The dashboard is soft touch, but it's like the same in my 3 Series.
It's like you guys just add a little bit of wood grain to
a little bit of wood grain with a little bit of cross stitching to give the impression that it's leather, but it's really this is not leather. This is more like a soft touch plastic. See, like, and this has some leather padding too, but it's just The seats are nice. The seats are comfortable, but overall, I'm pretty disappointed with this interior for what it's supposed to be competing with and what it's supposed to be being advertised as. I'm not really seeing the value for it. And on top of that, I still have a 4-cylinder. So like going back to when I was building a 540i online with decent options, not fully optioned out of course, but with decent options, it was still in the range of $65,000 to about $70,000. And it had basically every option that I would personally want. So that comes with a BMW B58 engine, pushing 335 horsepower, and the inline 6. Now I don't know about you guys, but it just hands down, what would you prefer to drive every day? A 4-cylinder or a very naturally balanced engine in the inline 6? I think the choice right there is very clear cut, especially when something like this where I personally feel as if the interior doesn't match the exterior.
The exterior is amazing.
The exterior is very clean.
That sleek look is, especially on the black, amazing. But when you step inside, you're like,
I'm expecting the exterior to translate into the interior as well, and I'm personally just not seeing it. I feel like, especially at this price point and what it's competing with, it's not offering enough to me. I'd be sort of disappointed knowing that I would be buying this vehicle optioned up and it's within the same price range in the realm of its German competitors, which to me, their interior is by far below this, completely out of the water. And again, I'm going to reiterate that American cars have this problem. Yes, this is 2014, so I would hope the 2018s have done a much better job in catching up to its German rivals. But again, this isn't too much of an older car either. This is only 4 going on 5 years old.
Yep.
This is Cadillac's 3rd generation. The exterior is exquisite. The lines and design language I enjoy. I've personally found the 1st generation CTS to be absolutely awful, both inside and outside. I thought it was garbage. 2nd generation got a little bit better, but I think the exterior design of this generation definitely, they got it right with this one, in my personal opinion. But in the interior, it's not a complete miss, but for what you're competing with and what you would expect out of it, I think it's a miss.
Right.
And you just did.
No, yeah, I'm not going. Yeah.
But you know, like I said, it's not a bad vehicle. It's not a necessarily bad place to be in. It's just when you have the knowledge and forethought to realize and compare and contrast to what this competes with, I think this is at the bottom in terms of the interior. But in terms of how it drives, we guys will find out pretty soon, because we honestly don't know how it drives yet. It could drive amazing.
Yeah, you can actually have a B rating exterior, A rating exterior, C/D rating interior.
It's like a immaculate. It's like a C minus B, C plus B minus type of interior. Like I said, it's not bad. And when we give these sort of ratings, we try and encompass every vehicle. Is it its interior? No. But when you look at it from a perspective of what it's competing with, it's near the bottom in terms of what it's offering the interior. But I will say that if this drive is immaculate, because I have heard that, you know, there's MacWxyne and it was co-developed with Ferrari and GM, things like that. Obviously, I don't think that sort of suspension is in here, and I'd be more safe for a CTS-V. Remember, this is a 2.0T. But I would hope that even in this model, just like with BMW, the driving dynamics tends to translate a little bit, even when it's not an M model, into the lower models. So I'm hoping that, yes, I'm not expecting this to be some sort of super track star saloon, but when you have the technology in your top trim model, I expect some of it to at least trickle down in here to where I can feel like, okay, the technology is there, this is just the lower model. But if you were to bump it up and spend, you know, a bag, because, you know, these CTS-Vs are not going for the $100,000+. That's a pretty penny for any vehicle, let alone something else that's competing with a lot of other good vehicles. And I love the CTS-V. I actually like it. This is just, you know, what we have right now in our hands, and we're going to give you honest feedback on it. And as of right now, as we said before, the interior, not cutting it, but the driving portion is coming up right now. And we'll see how it's like and see if it makes up for the interior that pales in comparison to its German rivals, in our opinions.
Right.
So with that said, I'm about to take this for a drive and let's get it. So what's this like driving a 2014 Cadillac CTS 2.0T? Well, right off the bat, I'm getting relatively no feedback from the steering wheel, and I'm very disappointed in that, considering that this is supposed to be sold as this is a trickle down from a CTS-V. I'd really hope that the CTS-V steering is far superior to this, because if it feels anywhere remotely to this, I would never buy that. I would never buy CTS-V if the handling feels like this, because it's not communicative enough. It doesn't translate road imperfections, and I really can't, like, I'm turning the steering wheel and I have no idea which direction the tires are. Yeah. Obviously I can tell because I'm personally steering it, but I can't feel what direction it's in. I really can't, and that's a major annoyance to me with vehicles.
Fuck around, turn on, accelerate. Why do you always do that? Like when I'm talking.
But you guys hear that? You guys hear that? This is a 2-liter 4-cylinder, and it sounds like straight basura. Oh my! I don't know if there's a worse sounding engine than this. But I'm not gonna lie, it does have some little pep. You know, it has 295 pound-feet of torque. It has some decent get up.
272 horsepower.
It has some decent get up to it. But oh my god, that sound is just unbearable. This is the main reason why I don't think I could ever own a 4-cylinder. When someone please show me an amazing sounding 4-cylinder.
Drop the link in the comments so we can.
Because I'll tell you right now, this one is definitely not one of them. This sounds so horrible, so bad.
It sounds like a midget trying to gargle peanut butter.
And to me, as a driving experience, as you know, more of a sporty nature, of course, sound from an engine is so quintessential and paramount to driving pleasure. No one wants to drive around and what they're sounding and what the sound is creating and what they're hearing, both people on the outside and the driver itself. No one wants to sound like they're driving a lawnmower. Like it literally sounds like as if, you know, I'm being awoken on Saturday morning by it just does not sound good. And this does have 3 driving modes. It has touring, sport, snow, and ice. Now the whole feedback to the steering wheel was in touring, and right now we'll put it in sport mode, and I'm hoping that it makes a significant difference in terms of how this car feels, because my lord, I wouldn't be able to do it. But it's now in sport mode, and I will be driving with the paddles. And
that smooth bitch.
So let's see what it's like. Put it all the way down.
Bro, I'll never forget when I was watching Bad Boys. I think it was 2. Now I remember when I first seen the movie, my man Will was whipping the fuck out of a Cadillac, bro. And I told myself, bro, I will get me a Cadillac just so I can whip it like that. But boy, now that I'm in this mug, that is not gonna happen.
Like I said, it has some decent setup. It's not necessarily slow, but definitely the power as you're climbing higher in RPMs, you can definitely. What are you doing?
I just want them to know that there's 2 black people in the caddy, bro.
But when you're going higher in the upper band limit, and this is exactly why I hate 4-cylinders as well, and small turbo vehicles, you feel a huge power drop off as you increase in RPMs, and that is extremely unfulfilling. When you drive a naturally aspirated engine, you're supposed to feel and enjoy the fact that you are wringing that engine out, and you feel the power building and building and building and building, and you smack into the next gear, and it builds and builds and builds, and it just keeps on going. And this, it feels like you just fell off fucking Mount Everest. Like you go high in RPMs, and you're like, all right, I'll feel the power, where'd it go? Switch gears again, and then you have a very minuscule difference when you try and wring this out, so you have to short shift, and that is aggravating. It's so ugly and displeasing to drive. I would never want to drive this on a day in and day out basis if I'm looking for a sporty drive. It's that bad.
But if you're looking for luxury?
If I'm looking at luxury, I still wouldn't mind. Even in sport mode, the steering, I can feel it get artificially heavier and it's still not translating jack shit to me. Oh my god, this vehicle, man. Cadillac, what are you doing? Why does it feel like this? Oh.
I feel like jack shit.
Even this Chrysler 300C, there is better steering feel in this, and that wasn't even amazing or anything of that sort. But this is worse. The only thing that Chrysler 300C had, which can be understandable, is that it has a 6.4 liter Hemi V8 pushing 470 horsepower.
Yeah, you can feel that.
The only thing you feel is a gear shift, and that's it. Like I said, once traffic breaks up a little bit, you know, I'll do a little bit more of a pull for you. But see, the engine sounds like it's moaning, like, we're going fast again. so like, power feels like it's dropping off. But then I did that, and then it feels pretty good. But I have to short shift because people don't really understand, or probably the majority of people that would even think about driving this vehicle would understand that you need a short shift to keep it within the power band, because the power band is so small. It makes peak power at 5,500 RPMs, and it revs all the way out to red lines at 7,000. That's a whole 1,500 RPMs missing right there that could be translating into good driving bliss, and this fails miserably in that. It's aggravating. I really don't know how much else to describe it, but it's not ideal whatsoever. But we can do another. Feel that power drop off, like you feel it building, and then you feel it just stop going forward.
Like if you check out our last video, the
E46 BMW M3, that was an actual aspirated engine, but when you wring that engine out, you feel it and you understand that it's giving you power all the time. It builds power seamlessly and linearly. This, you get power early on, yes, from, you know, like a stoplight to stoplight type thing, or stop sign to stop sign, actually, not stoplight to stoplight. Stop sign to stop sign, it'll feel good. You get inside this and you're just like, I feel disgusted. Like it doesn't. And then again, like I said, this isn't, I do have it in sport mode now, but again, it's still not translating enough feedback to me personally where I feel confident in doing any sort of spirited driving in this vehicle, because I really cannot tell where the damn tires are. It's not communicating that to me.
And this is what I will probably say, this vehicle alone probably more for old people built, or people that's not really trying to go as fast. This
is your geriatric luxury vehicle. To be honest, because I don't know how else to better describe it other than, does it ride nice? Okay, I'm not gonna make, this vehicle's not about totally shitting on this vehicle. We will get into the more targeted audience and what this vehicle is more built for. It's luxury amenities. How does this drive? How does it feel to you as a passenger?
I mean, you guys probably seen it in the video. We just went over a bump, and you can feel that. You felt that. But you didn't feel it to a huge extent like a sports car. It did take it reasonably well. It took it rather decent, but I mean, it rides pretty smooth. I mean, to be honest, I can't really tell about the steering, but when I drove your car, I understood what you're talking about with the more, you know, stiff steering wheel, so you could tell which way you're going. And I could tell by the way you was just swinging, and that little motherfucker was just, y'all, you know.
Like, look at this. It takes I could turn this with my middle finger. In my car, I'd probably break my middle finger if I tried to do the same thing.
Yeah, you sneeze wrong in this, and it's wrapped, bro. You're going right into a 7-Eleven. You're going to get yourself a big gulp and relax, because them cops are coming right for your ass.
But like I said, I understand where and what this targeted vehicle audience is for, but like I said, for me, this channel is called Views from the Heart for a reason, and with that in mind, we're always going to try and give you feedback from our honest point of views. And my point of views, I'll always try and compare a vehicle to a more sporty oriented setting, because it is possible. You can give a sporty sedan excellent handling. A lot of reviewers have said the CTS-V has been able to do that and accomplish that. But remember how I said earlier in the video where brands like BMW can translate to an extent, obviously not fully, but from their M models to their lower models. If you have that technology in the CTS-V, why is it not translating at least to an extent down here? It's really, you already have it there. Don't dilute your brand for that. I should not have to feel like, power-wise, yes, that is the main thing that people pay for when it comes to vehicles is their horsepower, along with their luxury amenities. But why can't an automaker like BMW do that more consistently than Cadillac? You have a top tier performance CTS-V. This should feel like the baby brother. Instead, this feels like the
adopted stepchild.
And that's not a rag on, you know, our adopted people out there, but
you know, we call you know how it is. You know how it is.
It's not the same. And I really do hope that we can get our hands on a CTS-V sometime down the line, because I'm hoping and praying that in the future a CTS-V is nowhere near like this. Because if it's anywhere near like this, I will say right now, I'll call out every single reviewer that has ever reviewed a CTS-V. And if it's anything like this, you're lying. You're dead wrong. You're dead fucking wrong. I don't care about offendings, you're fucking wrong, because this does not drive the way it should. It does not feel good. It's not confidence inspiring. I get zero feedback. This is probably one of the most bland vehicles I've ever driven in terms of feedback. And that's saying a lot, because we did a CL550 and an S550.
That's facts. This is also true.
The only thing that this vehicle has going for it is the fact that it was 3,737 pounds. Around that range. So it does have weight on its side, and it does feel like a peppy vehicle, in the sense that the 4-cylinder is adequate enough to move this vehicle along. Is it exhilarating? Absolutely not. Does it sound good? Fuck no. Is the interior quality good? B-. Like, why would anyone ever spend this option up in the neighborhood of $60,000? No, absolutely not. And this is why I can understand this sort of vehicle, why it's in the neighborhood of $14,000 to $15,000, up to $20,000, depending on mileage. Why this 2.0T is so cheap. This right now is $14,000, $15,000, people.
At Carlux, between Imperial and Lennox, if you guys want to go scoop this Cadillac up. You already know what the business is. If you're ever in Inglewood, I can't wait till they're done with that statement, but if you're ever in Inglewood for some strange reason, shout out to the west side too.
That bump right there, I felt that.
I'm probably gonna put this one.
I mean, I just good old Inglewood for you. It's not good enough. Felt that. But see, do you guys hear that 4-cylinder? It just sounds like it's whining, like, oh, I'm revving up again.
It sounds like a bike.
A very awful sounding bike, that's for sure. Ah, man, this vehicle is, God.
So would you say, what would you give the rating for driving?
The rating for driving? A D. This is awful. I am not, this is the first vehicle I can honestly say that after driving it, this is a fail.
Ooh.
This is really bad.
A fail?
A fail.
I know.
I
know a fail is bad, because I failed a couple classes in my high school days and got my ass whooped, so you know, it ain't gonna be a lot of
whatever they did with this CTS 2.0T, they need to scrap it and rework it all over again, because this is not good enough. This should be better. If you're gonna compete with a 5 Series, an E-Class, Audi A6, this is not good enough. This is nowhere near good enough.
Bare minimum.
All this has is some leather seats and a badge on it.
And I'm not gonna lie, it has cooling seats.
That's nice too.
My back is cool. It's 80 degrees outside right now.
But like I said, maybe we're grilling it too hard from a sportier perspective. That's honestly what I try to compare every vehicle to an extent. I understand that this is not a sporty vehicle, but again, for me personally, whatever vehicle I have, it doesn't need to be the sportiest thing. It doesn't need to be a McLaren P1. It doesn't need to be an M3, an M4, whatever. It just needs to be fun driving, because other than that, if you're just driving to drive, you don't want to drive. We live in LA, and I enjoy driving, even though we're in traffic all the time. Look at us, we're barely moving, and I hate the fact that we can't really go to location because it's farther out than what's necessary.
Yeah.
But man, does it feel nice riding in it as a luxury, from a luxury perspective? It's not bad. I would say it's to B- to a B. you know, it's really not bad.
For luxury,
I'll say C plus.
Yeah, I would say
because that's also including everything else in mind that's top tier. And you know, it's just it's Cadillac, you need to do better. I think that's really all I can really say about this vehicle. She's banging out over there. But you know what, that said, I think we've covered everything we need to about this vehicle. This is probably our most how should I say, grilling review of any vehicle we've ever had.
Yeah.
And that's because it's just really coming from an honest opinion. Is it a bad vehicle? Not necessarily. Depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Is it the worst vehicle? No. But it's missing a lot. And when you put it in perspective and think about what it's competing with, it's not good enough. It's just, period, it's not good enough.
Or what you could get for what you're dropping down for this vehicle, you'll be upset too, because what you could possibly get is a little bit and more.
Not a little bit, far more, in my personal opinion. Like a 528 feels way better than this. E350 feels way better than this. Why does this feel so awful? But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I know this is our most, how should I say, critical, but
yeah, Cadillac, we got in your ass on this one. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
But with that said, you know, this is Views from the Heart for a reason. We're not trying to sell something up. We would never sugarcoat something or try and sell you something that we wouldn't be comfortable getting with ourselves. And this is something I wouldn't be comfortable getting with because of what I'm looking for. But if you're looking for a luxury, more oriented vehicle that is cheap, because this is cheap. This is cheap. This is $15,000 with only about 65, 70,000 miles on it.
Impala sounds nicer than this goddamn.
But you know, with that said, I think there's really nothing much we can add other than the CTS 2.0T has been very disappointing.
Yeah.
In far more ways than one. Could you think of any lasting remarks that you'd want to add?
Y'all ain't got no motherfucking sunroof or panoramic.
That too. How can you spend $50,000 and not get that? I don't understand. Remember people brand new, this started at $47,000.
That shouldn't even be an option. That should just be like, oh, you can get
standard.
Yeah, y'all gonna need
Why am I gonna pay for a sunroof? Robert is just back there like, damn.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be drinking my water for that.
What do you think, Robert? What do you think of this?
Yeah, at least I might have gave me a CTS-V or something.
Yeah, because I feel like
everything you said hit
the mark. Yeah.
Because honestly, if anything lower than a CTS-V, don't get. If you're gonna get a CTS, get the CTS-V. We haven't done one yet, but from what I've seen and heard, there's no comparison to this. And that's sad. Because how can you offer something exponentially better than this, but then still include this with the same moniker? This should be something completely different. This dilutes what the CTS-V offers. What if someone was just so happened that didn't really know much about a CTS and they hopped into this instead of a V? Even though they could have very well afforded a CTS-V, and they did into something like this.
Boy,
just by off chance.
I tell you, bro, Cadillac is not gonna be happy with this review. My man's getting in their ass, boy. I ain't shit.
Hey, people don't want to see a scripted infomercial. We're trying to give you guys real life feedback. We're not going to sell you something or say something just because of the sake of who we're dealing with. That will never be the case. If we ever deal with you, we'll say it in the best possible way that we can without being ignorant, but we're never going to change who we are because people need to understand what they're getting into. A car purchase is one of the biggest financial decisions anyone makes ever. For most people.
Like I said, I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, I wanted a Cadillac. Just the name alone, when you hear Cadillac, you're like, oh boy, that sounds clean as hell. Yeah, I'm gonna be chauffeured.
It looks clean.
Yeah, no.
It looks clean. But exterior wise, it's really good. I like how it looks.
Once you get inside and you actually take this little thing for a whip. Yeah.
This is the reason why people have had such a hard time describing. And
I thought I didn't see a lot of Cadillacs on the road because I thought a lot of people were just broke. Fuck no. Shit's trash. It's garbage.
But this is one of the reasons why people have always been critical of American cars, because it just doesn't compare. It doesn't compare. And that's honestly very sad. This is a 2014. I hope to God that in four years that a lot has changed. I hope to God that if we ever get our hands on a 2018 CTS 2.0T, that it's way better than this, because
let me tell you, boy, if that mug
is anything like this, you failed again. Rewrite the whole bottom layer and just get rid of it. Keep the CTS-V as it is, get rid of it.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, I'm coming back blasting at your motherfucking ass. Not playing.
But with that said, I think we covered everything we need to about this vehicle. It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it. I know this is more of this is our most critical review, but again, like I said, we're just giving an honest opinion. I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, fuck y'all don't know what you're talking about.
Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them.
I mean, you can't really bash on someone for giving an honest opinion.
Not even that, but you watched the video long enough to goddamn see if we was bashing, so you gave us the view. I appreciate you.
But with that said, shout out to all of our faithful viewers. Shout out to everyone involved. Again, Carlux, thank you guys so much for this opportunity.
Fact.
You guys are amazing. Thought this wouldn't be able to do this. And, you know, Robert, our Superman in the back there all the time, rolling with
Tape
us.
on.
Well,
the
Fiji water.
Yeah.
You see, he's bougie. He's bougie. He had the Fiji water. He could have said it with some Aquafina or some Dasani.
Nah.
That or Boss.
You ever try the Central water? Boy.
Alright, wait, time out. What we doing? We're not getting no checks from those companies. Hey, talk to us and we'll say your brand every time. I might have to bleep them out, just to be honest.
Water.
It was he had water.
Wait till I get that 40 out.
But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Shout out to all of our viewers, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to be doing this.
Don't forget to click like, subscribe, follow, comment.
Hit the notifications, share the videos.
Yeah,
it really helps us out.
I've been getting a little bit of car followers on my Instagram. I'm following y'all back one by one. Don't think I'm just gonna blow y'all off, but yeah, best believe we in this for the long run.
So we appreciate y'all so much, and we hope you guys will continue to grow with us, because I guarantee, like I said, we're trying to do the grind, coming out with content for you guys, and you guys see the quality. Y'all see what it is. Y'all know what it is. Views from the heart. This video is not coming to a close. We're out of here. I'm already recording. Get in position.
In position, ho. Fuck.